All right, so this year we got, I just stopped my screen because I think this roundtable. Eduardo, do you mind to turn on your webcam so we can do the roundtable? I think this, my opinion, last year was, in all senses, I would say, a disappointment from my perspective. Because when COVID started at the beginning of the year, and we are like month after month thinking, no, maybe next month this will get better. Maybe next month this will get better. But when the symposium was announced to be online, it was like a reality shock, right? So, okay, so the thing is here, nothing gonna change. We will have to do this online. And I think I started the symposium in 2020 with that feeling, and the experience was very cold. Was like not like this year. We had a lot of improvements. So I got at some point I thought, man, maybe it would be better just cancel this because it's not the same, right? It's when you experience the real in-person symposium, and then you go to the online, all that connections that you do there, they just vanish. But I think this year it was very different. Okay, we have Chris joining us.
Chris is on.
Chris, we'll ask him to join us in the roundtable. Hi, Chris. For some reason, I cannot make him a presenter. I don't know why.
Do I need to be a presenter?
Not necessary. No.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. You want to turn your webcam? Welcome.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah.
There is Chris.
Ooh.
And look at what shirt I got on.
Look at
Digital
that.
connections.
I wonder how many other people got the Niche Tech shirt.
Yeah, I got a new one. It's coming.
one
It's
too?
coming.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I got
Awesome.
the one from with the names of the Chicago and how was that? Las Vegas,
Yeah, I almost went for that one. I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, that would be cool. Chicago crossed out, Vegas crossed out.
Cross, yeah, and brain dates. Yeah. So yeah, brain dates. That's the topic. I think I was explaining, Chris. Thanks for coming. But before you join, I was telling that last year was quite of a deception in a lot of senses because nobody was expecting to be an online event in the when we started 2020. Nobody was expecting to be there in 2020, end of 2020, and then we got COVID and we got the symposium of 2020. But now I feel that this symposium improved a lot. The brain dates is something that I think was a great thing that they put together. And I would like to ask you guys: have you been scheduling any brain dates and got a good attendance? No.
Well, I don't know
No,
about well, see, the thing is, good attendance. I mean, it's not volume of people, but it's quality of people. And so I think the way it was this year was kind of nice because I actually joined I only did 2 brain dates, but both brain dates were with customers who had just launched on Sitecore. And they went through all the struggles of trying to figure a lot of those things out. And so I actually made really good Content Hub connections out of that because the first thing they noticed during migration was the problem with the media library. And I was like, wow, Content Hub will solve that and more, right? And so I think that was very valuable. And the platform was stable, so you could actually have a proper meeting. Last year, the platform was very buggy. It was very slow. Whereas this year, you could actually have conversations, and I thought that was done really well. Now, the thing I missed this year, no Jake. What's the deal with that?
Yeah,
everyone's missing Jake. Yeah.
I did that interview with Paige O'Neill last month, and by the way, that was precious for me. I sent the invitation without any hope that she will accept, but she ended up accepting. And during the interview, I was asking her, "What's gonna happen to Jake?" It's like he's our face, right? I'm used to go to symposiums and see him making jokes. She said, no, this year we will have the Bosoma CMO from Bosoma São John from Netflix and John Legend. Those will be the entertainers, and this year will be a smaller event and etc. I believe, and honestly, we got less keynotes, less days as well, right? So probably because of that, he was not there, but I miss him.
Well, less announcements too, right? I think this one really compares to 2017, where you got a buzzword for the clients, but that's it. And next year will be we'll actually get the stuff that they talked about this year, like the composable DXP will actually be in fruition next symposium, right? This symposium, we're hearing about it, and we're hearing it's going to launch soon. And in 2017, it was like Horizon, we're going to get that soon, and Zenith, we're going to get that soon. And now we actually have Horizon, and we're happy. But the customers were all excited, and right now the customers are really excited about composable DXP. But what do we show them?
Yeah,
right?
It's just a promise.
That's the challenge.
Concept. Yeah.
Right.
I feel the same, but they just acquired that lot of different pieces, and they have to work to put it all together, right? We don't even have a single sign-on for logging to these things. It's all disconnected.
Yeah, the orchestration of everything, this is, I guess, what they are talking about when they put all the pieces together. And this is where partners will also help, right, Chris? So we will be, I guess, tasked to provide Sitecore with our inputs to make this happen in an orchestrated way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's an exciting time, but that was the only thing, is it's one of those down years in announcements, right? It's the client, like I have clients, after Symposium, I had clients reach out to me and they were asking me about composable DXP. And it's like, what can we do with that now? And it's like, well, there's Content Hub and there's BoxEver and there's, but it's like, it's all piecemeal now. But I'm like,
yes.
You know what? Next year, you're going to have this.
Right now, it all looks like disconnected, right? So that's where we need to, put pieces together.
One of the questions you can ask about composable, Chris, to your point, was when a customer asks, what can you do now with it? Well, technically, the answer is, what do you have right now? Right? Because that's the whole theory behind composable, is like, if you're using something here and here and here, and they work for you in little silos, we can try to make those work together. Obviously, Sitecore wants you to use their whole stack and plug all their pieces in together, right? And that's what the end goal is. But if someone's using something now that works well, the question is, how do we make that work in the composable near future?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The non-compromisable CMS, that was a word, right? I love the word because it's full of meanings. So, but I don't know what you think about this fragmentation, because this will fragment, right? The offers from Sitecore. Previously, it has still have the monolith. Oh yeah, I said the forbidden word. and now you have a lot of small pieces to make it to do the same thing. And I feel the word is bad, because it's like everybody wants to be a superhero, right? So imagine you are the Superman. You can fly. You have your X-rays in the eyes, and then someone comes to you and say, you are a monolith. I have this piece which is an X-ray, and this piece who can fly, but you are old, you're a monolith. So it's like the smaller telling the bigger that he is bad, Well, so that's funny.
I mean, it may seem odd, but to pull in a biblical reference, right? You have that part about the whole armor of God, right? Well, it's all separate pieces, right? So you have the sword that strengthens you and the shield that protects you and all of that, right? And so, I mean, it's the same thing with composable DXP. And the thing with that is then you can swap out what sword you have, and you can swap out what shield you need to protect you. I think the problem right now is that everybody's hitting each of the APIs directly, and that kind of defeats the purpose of having a composable environment. You really need that API mule or something like that to be that middle piece that lies between you and your API vendor, so that if you want to swap out Sitecore for Contentful, or if you want to swap out your commerce vendor for whoever, or you want to swap out, you know, your personalization provider for whatever new one is coming out that you can then take advantage of, you can do it without making a lot of code to all of the websites and all of the channels that you're working with. Instead, you can make the changes in your middle API layer and put in your new component, and away you go. And I think that's what's missing now, is that people have gone back to the old client server tied together thing, and there's no they've forgotten about the middle layer. They forgot about what we all suffered through all of that used to have a middle layer.
The way Sitecore used to be was really the fact that you would have it on-prem. Now, with everything becoming cloud-based, so that sort of implementation where everything is in a single solution, it's not necessarily needed anymore. So we can go for what we have out there that does it better. So if Box Server does a better job in terms of personalization than what we had before in Sitecore, and we can leverage that makes sense. Because right now it doesn't really matter where it's hosted, right? Before that would matter, because we as architects, developers, we would care about getting installed in our laptops, getting installed in a server, and dealing with it, and looking at all the DLLs and everything. But now, the more we go cloud, the more we get it on Azure or AWS or anywhere else. It doesn't really, I guess, it makes sense to have this, as you said, Chris, like we have the best sword, we have the best shield, and so on. They don't need to be together, smashed in a single piece. Yes.
Yeah, yes, as long as you make it so that you can swap them out. But right now, a lot of people, when they're talking about headless and they're doing all of that stuff, they're calling directly to that API, and that's wrong. You need something in between, whether it's a search appliance, whether it's your own API framework. You need to have some form of shield between you and your vendor, and I think that's.
I think we're seeing that a little bit. Isn't that what Uniform's kind of trending towards right now? Isn't that what they're doing?
Well,
they're trying to provide that middle layer that connects all these things.
Yeah, Uniform's a good way of doing that. That's one way. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of people that are on that headless bandwagon that aren't doing that. And I think we need to spread the word to them that you need to have something in between, whether it be search, whether it be an API layer, whether it be, Uniform using the CDN, but you need something that's got to be in between you. And I think that a lot of our customers are going to suffer down the road when the technology changes and you're not using Box Ever anymore and you're using whatever the new thing is. You've then got to rewrite all of that code, and I think that we need the customers to be informed on that and what the effort's going to be and what they should do now. But yeah, I agree with you. Uniform is definitely, Alex Shiva again, my superhero in the Sitecore community. He is my superhero, and he saw that coming, and he was ahead of the curve. And that's really good.
I heard another expression, front end as a service. And, as a service, yeah, I heard in one of these meetings. But back to the middle layer that you're speaking, Chris, that will bring us an interesting effect, I think. Maybe a decade ago, we are in Sitecore doing our solutions, there was no standards. Everyone was doing their layers the way they want, and etc. So at some point, the market was full of these solutions that are all in-house, And if you want a client to move from one vendor to the other, it would be, it was a lot of problem, a lot of trouble to, learn all you have there. The transition from one to the other is never friendly, right? Because you don't want to help your competitor and things like that. So now, and later they come together with the Helix, right? So the reflection I would like to bring is, now we are going back to a situation where people will have to do something in the middle the way they want, and maybe that will create a lot of situations again where vendors are doing the things that way, their particular ways, and transition can be difficult as well. Do you think that can happen, Chris?
Well, I think the thing is, because everything is API first, you're creating your generic interfaces. So I think if you're doing that kind of thing, and then that will help, because it's a little bit cleaner if you're actually doing, like, I mean, there's only 3 ways really you can do it: an API layer, CDN, or search, right? It's not like the old Wild West where you could do it however you wanted, and then we came up with Helix, which was nice and clean. Or, people were doing deployments however they wanted, and now we finally have unified for, pushing your Sitecore items forward. You know what I mean? I think for API, it's always going to be custom across. Every client's going to have their own need for an API, but having the API in the middle and then whatever you need underneath. I mean, there's really only 3 ways to do it, right? You're either going to hit an API, which we all know how to do. You're going to stuff everything in a search index, which we all know how to do, or uniform in CDN, which we all know how to do. So I don't think it's going to be as bad as
it was
back in the day with that. Now it is if they keep hitting all the individual API vendors. If they don't put a middle layer in at all, then yes, that's going to be a mess, right? Because then you have to learn every single API for every single type of solution. Whereas if you're doing custom code for them and it's hitting that standard API, a partner can go in and add more functionality, and it's tying into that existing API infrastructure that's there. So I think that'll make it cleaner than what it used to be. But yeah, in the old days, yeah, it was a mess because it was, there wasn't a standard way of doing it. But now there's only 3 ways to do it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And also, I think that because we have to work with so many disconnected pieces, I think there should be more time dedicated to documentation and to think about the infrastructure, think about the responsibilities and how the communication goes, etc. So I feel formalism will be more important as well, because otherwise you have to log into all those disconnected pieces and learn what is there,
Yeah,